Hey, what's up? It's Jax from Plastic Action, and you're listening to the world-famous ToyPhotoCast. We are storytellers.
Liam Simard is a toy photographer from New Hampshire. His hobbies include fishing, photography, hiking, and tennis. His favorite movie is The Departed. His favorite book is Ready Player One. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of ToyPhotoCast with Liam Simard Photography. Hope you enjoy it and have a great day. Peace.
Hey, what's up? This is Dwayne Shoots Toys, and you're listening to Toy Photocast. We are storytellers.
Three, two, one. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Toy Photocast with the one, the only Liam Simard Photography. What's up, Liam? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How are you? Thank you for having me on here.
Dude, I'm great. I'm grateful to have you on the show. I've been having fun getting to know you, and I'm excited to do it.
Yeah.
Let's do this thing, man. So how long have you been doing toy photography?
So I started toy photography, I'd say roughly about a year ago. I think it was actually the day after Christmas, probably like December 26th, 27th of 2019, going right into 2020 is, when I kind of started, and it's been insane. It's such a fun hobby, and I basically got hooked right off the bat, pretty much.
That is awesome, man. I didn't realize that you've only been doing it for such a short time. It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I've been really into photography since I was much younger as well. Like, if you want to count it, I've technically been doing photography for about 4 years now, but I really got into toy photography about a year ago, and it's been a ton of fun. Yeah.
What was the thing that got you into it when you first started? Do you remember?
I'm not sure. I think, it probably was getting, new Black Series action figures for Christmas that year.
Okay.
I was just chilling in my room, and I was looking at them and stuff. And I think it was also my brother wanted to, cause my brother, he's really into like diorama making and painting and drawing. He's a huge artist. So he wanted to weather this model tank that I had. And after he did, he's like, yeah, check this out. And I was like, oh, it'd be so cool to photograph that. So the next day, I went outside and I photographed it, and I was like, oh, this is so much fun. And so then basically that entire evening, my brother and I were crafting ideas of different, photos to make. And then I literally the next day, I took probably 5 photos. And I mean, obviously they were terrible because, no one's, the best when they start off.
You're just getting started.
Yeah. And so it was fun. It was addicting, and they were also super rudimentary shots. I was just standing them up and taking photos of them. But, it was really exciting.
Did you take those photos and instantly post them or something? What did you do after that?
Yeah, I actually did. So I didn't start my Instagram account off of toy photography. I had just posted my, if you've been following me for basically since when I started it, you would be able to see, I've deleted them now, and turned my account into a full toy photography page. But before, if you just scroll down a couple photos, they would just be photos of nature, wildlife, or photos of my family that I've taken portraits of and stuff. So
nice.
Mm-hmm.
So when you transitioned into doing action figures, were you planning on getting as deep as you are currently? What was the kind of progression for you, and what was the things that inspired you to kind of get more into it?
Well, it's kind of it was actually that first tank, the photo of that tank that I took. I kind of posted on Instagram, and the caption was I kind of want to try this toy photography. Let me know what you guys think. Maybe just take a couple shots and go back to what I was doing. And
yeah,
I started like I said, just basically taking more and more photos, and that ended up being the only kind of photos I was taking. Like, I still enjoy like wildlife photography and nature photography and portrait photography, but like I didn't. It sounds weird, but I didn't want to take other kinds of photos. I was just so obsessed with it, and like I'm a kind of person who, once I like get into something, I just constantly like I can't stop thinking about it. It's a constant obsession of it. Like one of my other large hobbies is fishing. So 5 years ago when I really got into that, it was like the only thing I was doing every single day. I was just going out with my friends and fishing. And so it's basically like this obsession that I, grab onto, and I'm just constantly doing it. So that's basically how it went.
So you had a camera when you first started out, when you were doing the tank photos?
Yeah. So so I think it was Christmas 2018, my dad had purchased me a Canon Rebel T6.
Nice.
And I didn't do toy photos then, so I was just taking photos of everything, and I was taking like tons and tons and tons of photos. And that summer I had scored a gig with my this like local restaurant. Like I don't know if I'm going to be honest, I don't know if they have them in like other states and stuff. It's called the Sea Dog, but it's like this, like a brewery slash like restaurant where you can just go and get some some really good food, to be honest.
Nice.
And I just emailed them because I was watching like YouTube videos like how to make money through photography. And I was like, I want to try this because I felt like my skills were pretty good because before I got the camera I was taking photos for probably a year and a half with just my iPhone. And I think it was the iPhone SE, the original one that came out.
Yeah.
So, it was basically just I asked them, and then they let me take photos from them, and it was insane because they like paid me I think it was like $200 for like a photo, and for like a 14-year-old kid, I'm like, what the heck?
You feel like you just won the lottery.
Yeah. And so I basically would just continue taking photos from then until I got into toy photography.
That is awesome, man. So after you got obsessed and got the bug, did you start like buying more figures, or did you already have a bunch of figures to shoot? Like what was that about?
Yeah, so I already had a bunch of figures from like previous, because my dad when he was a kid he like had a bunch of the old vintage Star Wars figures, like a bunch of the vintage G.I. Joe figures, and in the previous Christmases and like holidays and stuff I get like one or two Black Series figures, and like I was like, oh, these are super cool, and I'd like pose them and stuff, and I just leave them on my shelf. And I had like a bunch of like 3 3/4 Star Wars, G.I. Joe, just basically miscellaneous figures, and I had them like laying around. I mean, I didn't really display them. I maybe displayed like a couple figures and stuff, but yeah, basically after I got into like toy photography, I definitely started to purchase a lot more figures, but it wasn't for a while because I had this plethora of action figures that I, could just take photos of. So I just, used those instead.
Nice. Are you predominantly like a Star Wars only guy, or do you like to delve into other lines? I know you have a wide range of passions for movies. But what's kind of the stuff that you like to collect and like to shoot?
Well, in the beginning, I was primarily a Star Wars shooter. I basically use the Black Series figures that I had. I would like buy Black Series figures, and I would just basically shoot Star Wars. And it was not until like a couple months back, or actually no, I did shoot Star Wars, and since I also have a bunch of because like my dad and I are huge Indiana Jones fans, so I also had tons and tons of those 3 3/4 Indiana Jones action figures. So I would occasionally shoot those here and there, but I really was primarily shooting Star Wars. But it wasn't until probably like 6 months ago I decided to like really start adding variety to my Instagram feed and my photos. So I started to take more photos of like Marvel here and there if I had a couple, GI Joe, if I had like, because I had like a couple of the 3 3/4 figures,
Mhm.
so I would just kind of dabble here and there. So
Do you feel like delving into different lines helps you with your creativity? Because I know for me, whenever I'm like just focusing on one line, like whether it's Star Wars or whether it's Marvel or DC, like I get like burnout, like fatigue hard, because like, you know, as a fan, like we get so obsessed about or get excited about a series, like, and sometimes it's refreshing just to take a break and do a different line. Does that help you at all?
oh yeah, yeah. When I was shooting Star Wars, I would get burned out, and I feel like I do get burned out really quickly because I've started to discover it more like recently, but I feel like my style of like I feel like my kind of touch and style is more like gritty, like down to earth, realistic character. Because like I'm obsessed with like action figures that have like just normal like plain clothing, or like
Mhm.
not super flashy clothing, because I know most Star Wars characters have like super flashy clothing and like
Mhm.
you know stuff that I feel like it, for me personally, I don't know about other people, but it like takes me out of the immersion. And that's why I love like Daredevil figures. I mean, I don't have any, but I really want to purchase some. But like like a Logan action figures, like some of the GI Joe action figures, like but yeah, pretty much like just figures with like realistic style clothing. So once I started spreading out, I was kind of specifically looking for those kinds of figures. So you know I'd buy Black Series figures or like here and there, but those that was kind of what I was kind of looking for, because I feel like that's where my photos, like those kinds of action figures, they look best in those kinds of photos.
Yeah, I see you do some like military style photos too, like with like they look like World War II maybe figures.
Yeah, yeah. Those figures that I try and like portray like World War II, style shots are actually from like the Indiana Jones 3 3/4
Oh,
like line that I think came out around the release of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. So they have a bunch of these, and what's awesome about this Indiana Jones line is they didn't just release like the main characters that you see, like Indiana Jones, Marion, Mutt, like, or like basically like the main important people. They'd also release like the background characters, the characters I feel like people want to buy more because they're like the army building figures. Like they'd have like the Russian soldiers, the Nazi soldiers that like uh that you could build World War II scenes with.
mm,
Like you could take these figures and you can use them for multiple purposes, because like if you shoot a Indiana Jones figure, you're like, oh, that person's from Indiana Jones. But if you take one of those like kind of background soldier style characters, it you can't tell that they're from Indiana Jones. You'd be like,
yeah,
oh, you can tell they're from that era, but you can't tell that they're specifically from Indiana Jones. And that's
yeah.
what I like about them, because then you can create these World War II scenes with them.
I had no idea that they were from Indiana Jones. They work perfectly. That's really cool. So with your process, when you're thinking about stuff like that, do you intentionally plan out your photos beforehand, or do you just kind of take your figures? Like, how do you do your photos, or is everything kind of premeditated?
I feel like it's a little bit of like a mix of both. So, sometimes I'll just, like let's say I'm going on a hike with my family, or like going to the beach, because I live like 10 minutes from the beach, like right next to the beach. So, my grandparents live on the beach, so I can just go there basically all the time.
Mhm.
And so, like let's say we're going on a hike or something, I just get my camera, get like a Lume Cube, or like my Lume Cube panel and my other light panel, toss a bunch of figures in, and like some like canned air to use for like fog, and then I just go. And then in the car or on the hike, I try my best to plan. And personally, I don't like doing that as much, because I feel like I don't have enough time to plan, or like I can't manipulate the environment as much as I want. That's why I like taking photos in like my backyard, inside my room, and like inside my house,
Mm,
because I have more manipulation of the environment. I have more manipulation of like time I can spend on them. So yeah, like I normally plan out, like I'm thinking like throughout school or while I'm bored, I'm just thinking of different shots I can take. What would look better. But yeah, like sometimes it's just walking outside, plopping a figure down, and taking a photo. And I feel like that's what I did more in my earlier days. But I feel like I've put more time into the process of creating an idea, creating like a story behind that shot.
Yeah.
So it's more interesting.
Are you enjoying it more now that you're doing that?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it takes more time, and like I'm not putting out as many photos, but it's more rewarding in the end.
Because you're putting that extra effort into making the photo like that much better, and therefore like the process kind of takes over maybe the amount of shooting that you're doing. I mean, I can definitely see that. I mean, just kind of scrolling through your feed, I'm seeing like exactly what you're talking about, like the progression, and you've only been, it's crazy, man. You've only been doing it like, a year or a little bit over a year, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's really, really good stuff, man. So I'm excited to see where you're going to go with this, man, because it's really incredible. Let's talk about, yeah, man. Let's talk about your kind of exposure on TikTok and how that's going, because I know we kind of connected over TikTok. On Instagram, you go by the same moniker, right? You go Liam Simard Photography, and it's the same thing on TikTok, right?
Yeah, I mean, like there's a slight spelling difference on like TikTok and stuff. With TikTok, I with the 2 underscores, like that's on my Instagram, it's a little bit I think it's too long for TikTok, so I had to cut out the underscore in between my first and last name. So, but yeah, it's pretty much the exact same. So,
gotcha. And then for Instagram, like it's crazy because you have about almost 1,700 followers on Instagram, and then on TikTok you have how many?
I think it's 95,000 now.
95,000 followers. That's insane.
Yeah.
We were talking before we hit record about kind of how that happened, but do you want to kind of like recap like how that happened for you, how your growth kind of happened on TikTok?
Yeah, sure. So I started my TikTok account around March of 2020. So not too long after I had originally started toy photography. And it was kind of just something I would occasionally post on, maybe once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks. And I feel like the reason I did this was because it felt more like a hassle than actually something like productive. Because what would happen is I would set up the photo, I'd take the photo, and me being on like autopilot, I would start to clean up after, and I'd be like, oh, I didn't take the behind the scenes. And then either I would be like, oh, all right, and then I'd set it all back up again, film the behind the scenes, and then take it down and go back. And since I'm doing this in March, it's like 30 degrees out, so patience levels aren't exactly yeah, sure, I got all the time in the world, let me just set the shot back up again and take it. I'm just like, my hands aren't working because it's freezing out, and I'm struggling to like, should I? I'm only going to get like 100 views from this. Do I really have to do this? Do I really have to set it up again? And so what happened was, this continued until probably middle of summer, and then I started to talk a bit with Jared, Sir Dork 730, and he was telling me that like you kind of have to just like trust that you have to like post consistently, and you have to like just be patient basically. And my patience isn't exactly the best. I'll admit it. I'm not the most patient person. So I was like, all right. And I tried to post more consistently, maybe like 2 times a week. And so I would do this, and I'd see slight improvement in the amount of views and likes I would get. Grew a little bit, but it didn't really start picking up until end of October, beginning of November.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically, I'll kind of give you the rundown of how it went down. But basically, what happened was I was at around 300, 400 followers, I think. Actually, no, I think that I was at probably 500 followers when everything changed. I had just hit 500 followers. And that tank, that very same tank that was it's kind of funny actually, the very same tank that I my first toy photo on Instagram, that very same tank, I, went outside, filmed me setting up the tank. I put the tank down, a bunch of sticks around, set some leaves on fire in the background and to like smoke up the shot, add some flames. And I posted it that Monday evening. And, if I'm going to be honest, before I went to bed, I checked it. And at that time, my most viewed video had 11,000 views. And so I thought that was already insane. I already thought that was insane. Before I went to bed that night, I checked it and it was already at 20,000 views. And I'm not kidding. I literally couldn't sleep that night. I was literally like, it was probably like 4:00 in the morning, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the only thing I can think about, which is so silly, but like, it was the only thing I could think about. And so literally the minute I wake up, like right before school, I check the video, and I was at 4,000 followers, and it was at 178,000 views, and I was like,
golly.
And like I think it was like probably like half an hour before I had woken up, I was kind of like guessing. I was like, how many views do you think it has? 50,000? Like that was like some like huge, and it is huge, but like it was such an under guess of what had actually, like, it was such an underestimate. I underestimated completely what the outcome was.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it didn't stop there too. Like throughout I think every minute or so was gaining like 1,000 views.
Wow.
And I was like, my screen time of that day was probably terrible. I probably was on my, like, if I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't paying attention too much in class that day.
Rightfully so. I mean, you're blowing up on TikTok, so
yeah. So I was literally like refresh, and like it just kept going and going and going. And by the end of that day, it was at like 300,000 views. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I was like, it can't keep going from here. So it still kept climbing. It still kept going up and up and up.
Did that intimidate you to like not post again, or what did you think after? Like, what's going to be my next post after this? Like, do you ever have that feeling?
Yeah, I did have that feeling, but I feel like I was on an adrenaline rush that I literally posted like another like 5 videos that day.
Dang.
Actually, no, another 5 videos the next day, because I had posted that tank video like 7:30 at night, because I've heard that like that's a good time to post on Monday nights, or just at night in general.
Okay. So
like 7:30 in the evening, kind of left it there, and I didn't want to look at it because I feel like it kind of spoiled. Like, I don't know, it's just such a weird mentality, but like, I don't really like to spoil myself oh, is it doing well or not?
Yeah.
And so I kind of just sat on it the night. I didn't look at it or anything. And then I went to bed, and then, how I said, I couldn't sleep that night because I had to check it right before I went to bed. So I did. Like I said, I couldn't sleep that night. And then what's that?
Now, do you check your stuff before you go to bed now? Like, does it keep you up at night?
No, it does not. It does not keep me up at night, but I do just sometimes check before I go to bed, just to see if it's going well or not. But
what blows my mind is that there are people out there still that don't believe that TikTok is a valuable asset to your toy photography.
I know, and I'm trying. I'm like preaching it. I'm basically like preaching it. Like I'm like, to put out an example. A very, very talented toy photographer goes by the name Jason B. Michael. He had posted a couple videos on TikTok, and it's not like, I wouldn't consider it like a, to be offensive or anything, but they weren't doing well because that's how everyone's videos are.
Yeah, when you first started out, yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like he got discouraged, and I got discouraged as well when this was happening to me. And it probably wasn't me who convinced him that you should, stay consistent. Like it's, like, you gotta, it's coming. Like, you got a couple more videos, and I'm telling you, man, your photos are just so mind blowing that once they catch, they will literally explode. And I was like DMing him this. I'm like, dude, trust me, do this, do this for me, because I know your photos are so insane that if you just post like a couple more videos, they will explode. And I mean, like I said, I don't know if it was me who convinced him. Maybe if it was because, I wouldn't consider us like super close or anything, but we have DM'd each other a couple times here and there. But maybe there was some other like closer friends who had convinced him to. But he had started posting a little bit more regularly, and then he had posted that he posted the behind the scenes to that photo that blew up on Instagram, which was his Gamorrean guard getting chased by Bork Bork, and he posted that, and it literally blew up. I think at the end of the day, it got probably like 400 to 500,000 views. It was ridiculous.
Wow.
I was like, there we go. See, I told you so. Like I was super proud for like him and a little bit for myself as well, because I was like, and that's what I'm trying to like tell people. It's like, TikTok can be a little cringy. I'm not gonna lie, but
Yeah.
it's so worth it.
It's great for the toy photography community because it gives us exposure to people I feel like that probably would never like see toy photography. And
yeah.
I like honestly using TikTok more than I like Instagram. And that is crazy to say because I feel like I've used Instagram like exclusively for like the last like 5 or 6 years. And now I'm like, man, I like TikTok more. It's just weird.
Oh yeah, I feel like the behind the scenes portion of my photos is on par as important, if not more important than the actual photo itself. Obviously, the photo will always come first in the quality of the photo, but that behind the scenes video has to be done, and it has to be done somewhat well because it's so important. Because to be honest, I'm getting way more exposure from those behind the scenes videos than my photos on Instagram. And that's what I love about TikTok is because, with Instagram, its algorithm isn't exactly the best. So it's only really showing your photos to your followers, and people were like, oh, I know what toy photography is, obviously, because I probably do.
Yeah. And the cool thing about TikTok is that you don't have to just post your behind the scenes. Like you can do other things. Like, and the thing I love about what Dwayne Shoot Toys does is he does really creative things to get people engaged in his toy photography. Like he does the like TikTok collector cards, and he does all these different things that really don't relate to toy photography, but he's just being creative, and that makes people engage with his content. And it's just the sky's the limit, man. It's really fun. I've just now recently in the last like week or two started to get back on it and really start to put effort into it, and I'm already getting thousands of views, and I'm not even trying. That's the weird thing. Like I'm not even putting effort into it. I just upload just whatever I can, and this is so weird.
Oh yeah, like Dwayne, he takes perfect advantage of the exposure on TikTok. His videos are super engaging, and they really draw people in. They're super interactive because like he'll like say like comment down below what you want to see next, or like make the video that can be experienced from both the viewer and the person making it. Both of the people can interact in the video, which causes that engagement. And he also takes advantages of the trends, popular sounds, and all of that. And when he does that, it just ends up in success. He has over 1 million followers on TikTok, and it works out perfectly.
Yeah,
it's that ability to show people who have no clue what you're doing, and you're able to just show it to them. Because like I said, it's not like Instagram where it only shows it to your followers who either do toy photography or really like it. Showing it to people probably had no idea that this thing even exists, and it's amazing to see their reaction because they're like, "What? These are toys? This is so cool!" And it's like, yeah. Welcome to toy photography.
Yeah, and like the cool thing about it too is there are ways to create videos on TikTok without even having to use your own voice. Like if you want to narrate something, you can literally type the text out, put it on the video, and then push dictate, so it'll speak it out for you. That way you don't even have to narrate, and it'll like be like this AI robot voice woman that speaks for you. It sounds kind of funny when I'm explaining it, but it works.
Yeah.
And like there's really no excuse for toy photographers other than just either, I wouldn't even say it's laziness. It's more just like they don't believe that it's going to make a difference, or they don't care. But I think if people will put the effort into it and really see that it's a gold mine, like, I mean, it's
Yes.
a freaking gold mine.
That's the perfect word to describe it. There's like no other way to describe it.
Yeah,
Like
it's crazy.
toy photographers who hop on, like, right around now, you don't, like I said, it's just you don't have to do that too much. It's like you can post it behind the scenes, and it doesn't have to be super complicated. That's the thing.
No.
It being super complicated, it's still most likely. I mean, yeah, maybe it will have people more interested and they'll like it better, but it doesn't matter, because the people who are seeing this don't know if this is good or not, because they're not from Instagram who are like, oh, that's a pretty good shot, but like, I've seen like Sergeant Bananas, I've seen Jason B. Michael, I've seen Nose Rain.
Yeah, we're oversaturated with the legends and the pros who are killing it. And there's people out there that like see people like you and me. They're like, what we consider ourselves to be probably like not as good as them, but like to the average Joe out there, like they're like, oh man, this is just mind blowing stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's really interesting. I've been seeing stuff that you do too. You do some reaction videos to where you'll like react to other people's toy photography.
Yeah, I feel like it's a lot of fun, because what they do is as they tag me in their videos.
Yeah.
And what's fun is I feel like I'm helping them out, because most of the time most of my fan base is much younger, and most of the toy photographers that are posting their stuff on TikTok and that are tagging me are much younger than us and than me, because I'm already young myself. I'm only 17 years old, but I mean much younger. But like, and I feel like it really encourages them. And I'm not considering myself this big person like, oh, if I react to your video, I'm going to make your videos blow up, because that never happens pretty much. But I feel like it.
But you're creating community there.
Yes, yeah, and it's bringing people like closer together. Be like, oh yeah, like, we're good friends, because I like to like talk to these younger toy photographers and stuff, and it's fun because they ask me like critique their photos, and I try and act like I know what I'm doing, but like I said, I've only been doing this for about a year, and I'm like, and I like to give them like critiques and helping them out, because I see them do much better. Like once when I started blowing up on TikTok, I started to see more younger toy photographers, and since I've seen them several months ago, they're getting way better. I'm like,
really?
Yes, most of them are getting way better, and they're also adopting the techniques that I've been doing, that I've adopted from other people, like the snow effect and the rain effect. First time I learned about that was watching the Adam Savage tested video with Sergeant Bananas. So it's just passing on these skills, and like when I see them do it, I'm like, let's go. Sick.
It's so sick. It's so sick, dude. That's so awesome. So where do you kind of see yourself in 10 years? Like, are you going to be still doing toy photography?
I want to look that forward, but I feel like I'm a little nervous to look that forward, because like, I'm encroaching on my final year of high school. I'm currently a junior right now. It's it's like halfway through the year. So and I'm still choosing like if I where I want to go to college, and basically all of that fun stuff. And I'm nervous that what like with college and stuff, that and I don't want to think like this. I want to think that going into college, I'll still be able to do this, and that's why like I try and not think about the next 10 years, because I'm afraid that I won't be doing this hobby, but I want to. That's the thing.
What makes you think that you won't do it? Is it just a matter of time, or is it a matter that you feel like you wouldn't be accepted, like in doing it in college, or what's the reasoning?
I feel like probably that um, personally, it's like the logistical looking at it, like all the action figures and the camera stuff and the dioramas and all that. To be honest,
It's a lot. Yeah, that's true.
yeah,
Um, Ron, perfect world. Would you want to do this professionally?
yeah, that would be awesome because like you know this hobby is just so much fun. It kind of blends things that I love because like I love like photography. It's my biggest hobby and I do it every single day. And it also blends my passion for like storytelling and movies and superheroes and all of that stuff. Sorry, what was
Well,
that?
I was going to say, what's stopping you from pursuing it as a profession?
Um, you know, that's a good question. I,
I
I,
mean, I'm just asking because you already have a massive following on TikTok, and you've already gained some traction, and you're so young, man. You have like so many years ahead of you to really hone your craft. I just
mhm.
don't see any reason why you couldn't pursue it as a potential career, you know?
Yeah, I guess you're right. Like, yeah. I mean, and I guess it's more comforting now that I've seen that toy photography has become more mainstream, like especially with like Mitchell Wu and just the stuff he's been able to be a part of.
Yeah, and plastic action, man,
Oh
and
yeah, all of them. Just
I mean, he's doing stuff with Foot Locker, like I mean,
no, it's nuts. It's like
it's crazy.
it's like, are you serious? Like you know, and then after like listening to some of these like these casts with you and like Sergeant Bananas and Nose Rain uh, and Plastic Action and you guys sharing your experiences like having like with Plastic Action with Jax, he's uh, like on ESPN. That's nuts. Like, are you
Yeah,
serious? Like,
yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's a viable profession now, and the crazy thing is that you don't even have to go looking for the work. Once you kind of have developed a portfolio, is that people eventually will start coming to you,
Yeah.
and the sky's the limit, man. If whatever you want to do, you can do. I think one of the reasons why I love doing this podcast is really getting to know photographers, but also like trying to encourage the creative ones out there to kind of take the box mentality off. You know, we all have this idea that like, oh, we can go so far with it, but we couldn't do it as a profession, or whatever the excuse may be.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the reasoning behind it is usually because people are looking at it from an aspect of lack. They're saying, well, I don't have this, or I don't have that, or I don't have this skill set, or I don't have that skill set. All those things are learnable. All those things you can learn, or all those things that you can eventually get to if you just apply effort, right? Or
Yeah.
like you say you don't have a certain camera, or you don't have whatever it may be, a program that you want to use, Lightroom or Photoshop. There's ways to work around those things, right?
Mhm.
And so taking the road less traveled, which is toy photography. Not a lot of people do this. Of course, there's going to be ups and downs, but if you want to make this your thing, man, I always just tell people to do it, man. Just freaking do it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. And I think you personally, I think you've really called me out on these. Like, I feel like I really do, struggle with like, appreciating that, I have these years to be able to perfect this and actually like grow with this and uh, like really show people what I can do with this hobby and me right now thinking that like, oh, but I probably couldn't make a profession out of this, or
Why
I
not?
I
Yeah.
can't. Yeah, why not?
If
Exactly.
you love it, do what you love, man.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
for me, I'm doing dioramas, 3D printing, and I love it. And
Yeah.
I love to do it, and I
Hmm.
get paid to do it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like, do what you love.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's all I gotta say, man. Just do what you love.
Yeah.
I guess I could just say mic drop on that. I don't know where to go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Man, I wanted to also ask you about your the way that you kind of like. I love to get in deep about people's like mindset. So like, how do you stay positive in the midst of like a pandemic and you're going through high school? Like, how do you keep going? Like, what's the thing that kind of motivates you?
I think I'm pretty fortunate to be a pretty positive person. I'm a very, you know, I rarely ever get down, but I mean, I'd be lying if I say I never, but like, I don't know. And I feel like, uh, for me to feel like, getting through this and feeling better about it is toy photography. It's like, that's why I do it every day. It's a literal like escape, right? You know, get out of school, I do my homework, and then I start shooting. It's fun. It's fun, and it makes you feel better. And I just and I guess another part of me is that I have this weird thing where I constantly like I get stressed if I don't use my time right. Like if I like let's say it's like on the weekend and I had something planned and something happens and it doesn't work out and I have nothing to do for the rest of the day. I freak out. I like because every second, every minute ticking by, I'm like, oh, I could have been doing something then. Oh, I could have been doing something then. You know, I just I have to always be doing something. I
Hmm.
always have to be doing something relatively productive. And once I've done something relatively productive, I can allow myself to do nothing. And that's also why I take photos every single day.
Man, that's a great mindset to have.
Hmm.
I think if people applied that to their hobbies more often, they would get so much farther ahead and probably where they are. I think just from looking at your progression and the things that you've done already, like, man, the best is yet to come. I mean, you've just started, dude. You don't realize that there's people out there that have been grinding for 4, 5, 6 years that aren't even taking photos like half as good as you, man.
Thank you, man.
So you kind of have to pat yourself on the back a little bit and be like, wow, I've come a long way and I've still got a ways to go. But enjoy the process, man.
Yeah,
Enjoy the process and be grateful.
yeah. And I feel like I started to do that more, to be honest. And I'm not gonna lie, it's after listening to a couple of these casts, especially the ones that get really deep with like you and plastic action stuff, talking about trusting the like being grateful for what you have and being patient is basically the number one rule is being patient because you can't go from here like and like what you guys were saying is you see these people who are like getting set up with these massive companies and are doing these huge brand deals and you're like and you get discouraged from it like oh I can't do that but you gotta and I've started to do this now because before that would be me and so now I'm more like I will get there but I gotta put in the work and the skill set has to all the pieces will come together and that's when I see comments on my TikTok I see comments like how do you do this and I don't think I've ever said with some sort of materialistic physical item. I think I've responded to every single one of those with practice and obviously I would be lying if I said nice equipment doesn't help you because it obviously does. That's why people buy it. But you can't be a pro at something if you only have nice equipment and no skill behind it. The
Yeah.
skill is what you know puts you apart from everyone else. Is what makes you better than everyone else. Is that skill?
And
So
skill comes through practice.
exactly. Practice is, and that's also why I keep mentioning that I take photos every day, and I don't want that to be some sort of flex or anything. I just, I like to mention that because I feel like it's my way of practicing, of doing something, of being somewhat productive. You
That's
know,
awesome. Well, dude, I'm just grateful to get to know you, man. I think that like I've said before, I think that you got great things ahead, and
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be fun to see your journey along the way.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, man. So before we close it out, is there anything else that you want to say to your audience and your listeners and followers?
I guess what I could say is basically, I know everyone says this, but trust the process. Be willing to have, your photos not do well, your videos not do well, and I guess that's somewhat easy for me to say because my videos have done well, my photos have done well here and there, but you have to understand that the only way you can ever get good at something is to have those bad days, is to have those crummy, photos, and is when you're outside taking a photo, and your all the figures fall over, wind blows something over, your light dies, your camera dies. You have to like take a step back, and I struggle with this all the time. You have to take a step back, take a deep breath, and be like, if I stop here, I don't take this photo. But if I just set them back up, if I just, try this one more time and take the photo, maybe it works. And I feel like that's where the majority of my personal favorite photos have come from, is from that, trying that one more time, just putting in that little bit of extra time into it.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it, man. That's inspiring stuff, dude. Let everybody know where they can connect with you on your socials.
Yeah, so like we had been talking about TikTok and Instagram, you can find me on Instagram at Liam_Simard_photography. And on TikTok, you can find me at LiamSimard_photography.
Remember, we are storytellers. Get out there, tell your story, have some fun, shoot some toys, and be like Liam. Enjoy the process. Take your time. Don't give up. Eventually, you might just blow up. See you guys.